Hi loves, Denisa here, Tuesday, June 5th, and we're doing 21 days, 21 shades of desires. I've been guided to do this, just kind of transmit it through, and I felt like, this is what we're creating right now. That's good, because if you follow, then it's always right. I've learned to do this over the years. I have 4 degrees. I learned how to use my intellect to get results, but that really didn't work when it came to designing my soul-sourced work in the world. Things started not working when I would use my intellect. So I had to adapt. And of course, as a quality human being, I switched on very quickly to the use of my intuition and listening skills to start listening more and following the call of source, of the goddess, of the entity. I believe it was Peta that wrote that about the chief entity, that when you start to work with your soul-sourced ideas, soul-sourced journey in life, you begin to kind of follow that chief entity, the CE. And that kind of pretty much, says it. There is some kind of an entity that comes to work with you. The universe is always, my belief is that the universe is always trying to learn about itself through you. You're one of infinite shades of love, and that is actually your frequency, and you're meant to create something through that. So the key is to learn how to listen and then how to follow the calls. Over the years, that is what I've learned. You may have a different strategy, but I feel that more and more of the women creating in the world this way end up resonating really powerfully because they are aligned. But we all have a process. We have steps towards this, and we have regression and progression and regression and progression, and it's just a whole entire beautiful journey like that. Yesterday, we touched on ease. We crave ease. As women in the world, we do crave ease. And what I have found through my, unpacking the whole concept of ease for women's lives, even in my work as, in my years as a physician, women coming to me actually with health concerns or, hormonal concerns or metabolic concerns, but actually we really got to the bottom of it. It was that metaphysical sense of ease that women are longing for, yearning for. So yesterday's video was all about that. Really unpacking ease, what that's all about, and what is the actually true remedy for ease. And we did discover that the lubricant to the soul is love. And so when you're having difficulty, if you add a dash of love to it, then that is the lubricant for ease to function. Hello, Sue. Welcome. So we crave ease, and the remedy for that is love. If you add in love, whatever you're creating, whatever the challenge is, will just be experienced through a lot more ease if it's infused with love. So please do have a look at that. I also wrote an article about it this morning in the Bliss Designed magazine. So that's about ease. But today, we're going to drop into another craving that women have. I've worked with women for many, many years, and I worked with thousands of women from all walks of life, from, moms and young women, and just coming to their life, to like really mature women and CEOs and those that have really worked through a lot of things in their lives. And what I always found is women are asking, they're craving for more. And I want to really touch on that today. So, 21 shades of desire. This is what we're talking about here in this series for 21 days. And the second desire that I'd like to drop into is the craving for more. as human beings, we have this kind of a pull towards more. There is this pull and kind of a dialogue in the world of self-help and consciousness is about expansion. You know, the human being is pulled towards expansion instead of contractions. We are no longer hiding in societies. We're actually really expanding and opening, and it's kind of a metaphysical frequency of more, an expansion, yeah? And so what does this mean, this desire for more? So when I worked as a physician, it was usually more of energy, more of vitality, more of positive mood, meaning less of anxiety, less of depression, less of the suffering, less of the lethargy, less of the bloating, more of the vitality and the firmness in being in a woman's body. And then as a coach and mentor, really it was about more of that fulfillment, more of that thriving, really like being lit up and aligned, more alignment, more prosperity, more expansion, more devotion to your spiritual practices, more that just this pull towards more. And of course we see this as a kind of a quality of the human nature at this time. If you look at the cosmogony of this, the metaphysics of this, and if you really look at some of the literature around cosmogony of the human and the 3D and the 4D and the 5D and the 6D humanity, you know, where we are in evolution, we are in the 3D to 4D to 5D kind of expansion. And in that place, you know, as human beings, we at first, you know, first half of our life, we create more by doing more, by accumulating more, by building more. We build professions, and we build houses, and we build families, and we add and add and add and add meaning to our lives, because we are constantly in search of truth, yeah? But at some point in our evolution, we kind of, that switch comes on and we realize, oh my God, actually, I need to be decluttering here. I've accumulated too much, either too many relationships, too many things, too many responsibilities, too many bills, too many employees. Like sometimes we build this up and realize, oh my God. And now you go into a process of expansion. Instead of accumulating, we begin to expand through releasing, letting go, becoming more minimalist, yeah, more essentialist. We let go of things. We let go of relationships that are not working. We let go of servitude that's not working. We start to let go of even professional lives, right? This is serious. This kind of a stage, it's happening more, and I mean, especially for women who are in the Gen X generation like myself, really this kind of process really kicks in kind of late 30s, that you go, oh my God, I need to drop half of the things that I've just created, because of course they served for my evolution, but now they are just density, they are heavy, they are there's a lot going on, and I need to let go, and you start to realize how much in bondage you are. And sometimes this also is a part of why women tend to really consider changing relationships, divorce, you know, because the bondage of all these beautiful cordage that we've kind of wound around ourselves is cutting off circulation. You need to keep expanding. You have this feeling that expansion is just naturally pulling you. It's like almost a cosmic necessity, and you start to realize that you gotta start, untying some of that shibari you're in. Yeah, you could say, because it's all beautiful, right? You've all done it out of love. You got married out of love, or out of actually beautiful devotion, at least. You've had children out of love, or at least maybe it happened by accident, but you know what? You adore them, or you actually honor them as human beings you brought into the world. It's not like you want to cut them off, but there comes a time when you realize, oh my goodness, this is cutting off my circulation. I got to change something. I got to either change position or loosen that cord a bit. And I've seen that in myself with my children. Of course, when the children are small, you're fully engaged and fully devoted. But now that they're like 10 and 13, that those knots are kind of loosening, and I'm finding myself breathing a little bit deeper, that I can just kind of let them live their lives, evolve themselves without my overlooking every step of, not that I was a super helicopter mom at all, not at all, but I was always switched on. I knew exactly where they are and what's up, even if they thought they were free. Yeah. But now they're 10 and 13, and now I feel like I'm just really watching them more and more, and just gazing at their evolution. My son is entering the teens, and now I see him, cutting himself off emotionally from me, and I'm just observing it and letting that be. And it's beautiful because that's his evolution. He's coming into manhood, and that's powerful. So wanting more is what we're discussing. What does that really mean for a woman? Wanting more freedom, more liberation, more love, more prosperity. Like, what do we really mean by the more? Because my work in the world is essentially tailoring bliss, ecstasis, the higher level of alternate states of consciousness into a woman's life. And I feel that that's extremely important for a woman's frequency, for a woman's awakening and ascension, but also for her body. Her physiology is so much healthier when she's able to be in touch and live more in these particular frequencies, and the erotic soul of the woman as well. And also it's important for her sexuality, and for her to live fully spectrum woman in the world, which I think any woman lit up that way is just a better overall sentient harmony in the world. Yeah. And of course, her legacy. We are women designing our work in the world from our most soul-sourced, authentic, clear, crisp, pure alignment. And it's not a pressure of any sort, but you just learn to listen, and you learn to follow the call. And that's when it starts to kind of, all the irrelevance starts to just slowly taper off and drop off. And that's a really beautiful, harmonious effect in the world. And if one woman can do it, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and of course, if we do it, our men are doing it, like, we just kind of like entrain each other into this next level of humanity that's really, really being called in. Even though looking at the news, you'd be thinking, we're in the fourth turning, and it's going to turn out really, boys are butting heads, and nationalists and globalists are butting heads. You know what? No, if you really keep your eye on humanity's evolution, you will see that we are moving into this area of human evolution that's actually quite authentic and real. So I see it positively. I choose to, and that's what I focus on, because what you focus on is what you create. And although I do believe that collective consciousness is how we're creating, so really we need to inspire each other to focus on that positive polarization of humanity. There's a ton of negative polarization, and I see it even in myself every day. Is like my mind could be pulled by energies down in an instant. I was taking my dog for a walk this morning, and I was near the woods, and he started sniffing and trying to run into the woods, and my mind went, oh, all these, horrible negative imageries, like, oh, what could be in the woods? And of course, I just kind of switched, and I was like, oh, that's the humanity's negative polarization. That's the pull of entities downwards. And that's actually what we're being called, is to catch that and pull it up and focus on the beautiful and positive and on the evolution of the human psyche. Wanting more is what we're talking about. So So basically, this summer I'm running a beautiful salon, and my focus for this salon is to take the frequencies of bliss and the erotic soul of the woman and tailor that into women's desires and into women's purpose and into women's legacies. A lot of work in the world is being done still from a very performance-based, pragmatic-based, very masculine structure. And that's okay. However, I feel, as a physician, I see that actually really burning women out. We are designed just a shade different. Yeah, like if you're gonna pull something off, are you gonna pull it off with this super, strong samurai style? Yes, some women that are, in the flow profile, that are the hardcore goers, that have that metabolic prowess that's very masculine, that will work really well for them. But a lot of women that I've seen through my years and years of anti-aging medicine practice and as a mentor, we are exhausted, we are overwhelmed, we are depleted, we have yin deficiency, and that needs to be kind of nourished through a different way of designing our desires, of designing our purpose in the world and our legacies in the world in a more kind of a pleasure-based way. So instead of talking about performance, you begin to talk about inner glow that brings on performance, and I switch on in that conversation. I go, oh, even the head coach of the Seattle football team, I don't know what they're called, Hawks or Bears, I don't know. I don't watch football, but the head coach was featured in Stealing Fire by Jamie Wheel and Stephen Kotler, and they had an interview with him recently, and he says, yeah, the field of performance, high performance, is changing. Even in football, we are looking more and more and more and stimulating the inner glow of the players versus their high, hardcore performance. And this is in big football players. This isn't even women. Inner glow of a football player, his joy, his bliss, his ecstasis, his groove, his mojo. That's what fuels good performance. Not by giving him, exercises and supplements and this and that to build his body and build his raw. No, the human is, when you have a glow and you become magnetic and you start to create really powerful stuff. So, we're talking about, aloha Bryce, great to see you. Emily, oh goodness, that's so wonderful to have you guys here. We're talking about wanting more. What does that really mean? And essentially, how do we take that desire and encode it with bliss and encode it with the erotic soul, so it's not like wanting more and always being drawn to accumulate more or create more or have more happiness or more love or better sex, or this constant pull for improvement, this constant movement towards just better and yeah, right? So the first half of our evolutionary life, we accumulate experiences, professions, designations, We accumulate, and then we realize, oh my God, I'm really heavy, I'm so dense, I can't see, I can't hear, I can't move. So then you begin to unload, and that's the second phase of the human evolution. And we see ourselves letting go of relationships, letting go of professions, sometimes letting go of our children a little bit, letting them fly on their own a little more, being less helicopter-ish, letting go of toxic load, whether it's through letting go of subconscious programming that's just not serving us, that was there for a reason, either from an ancestral line or from actually how you learn to deal with the trauma of being 3D human. Letting go of, subconscious programming that's heavy, that's dense, that is stopping the, I can't hear, you're muffled, you can't hear the messages, and they're screaming at you, the angels, and going, listen. They're always speaking to you. The thing is whether you've got your ears covered or not. It's such a fun journey, isn't it? Todd, you're here every day for me, my brother. I love you. So we're talking about wanting more. We want more from you, Todd. More lightness of being. More of you, basically. Just you. Just truly the core you. So we can look at this from a very 3D, 4D human perspective of duality. Which is how we used to seeing reality. Either I want more love or less hate. Either I want more health and less pain. We're always kind of speaking in these terms of more or less, more or less, more or less of something, desiring. And desiring is beautiful. It's a pull to evolution. It's a pull to expansion. But what is that expansion? What is that expansion? Why do we have this feeling that we're expanding, we're wanting more? Right? Well, if you tailor the frequency of bliss in there, what you start to actually see, your lens changes, and what you actually start to see is it's not necessarily an expansion, it's just an unveiling, it's untying, it's an unshackling, it's you start to snip the chains that are holding you down as a 3D human being, because there isn't an expansion necessarily, because the ultimate nature of reality is infinite consciousness. Infinity can't expand. It's already infinitely expansive. So you are everything already. So if you want more thriving, you are infinitely thriving already. However, you have 5 tons of chain around you locking you down, and your job in this lifetime, baby girl, is to wiggle around, feel the pain, go, damn it, and start to see, oh shit, it's the freaking chains. And if you're lucky, it's not really chains, it's a beautiful shibari get up, yeah? Some beautiful shibari artist has tied you up so nice and tight, and you have surrendered in it, but after a while, you start to feel the pain. And hopefully he's around to release you. That masculine power inside of you is around to start going, okay, baby girl, you had your lesson? All right, let's start releasing you. And that's the process of expansion. You're not expanding per se, you are releasing, you are unveiling, you are unshackling, one cord at a time, one chain at a time. You clipping them, you are untying them, you are unveiling yourself, one program at a time, one forgiveness at a time, and you are actually more and more entering into your experience, your inherent, your God-given divine inheritance of infinity, of what you are complete already. You're complete love, you're complete prosperity, you are complete abundance, you are all of that. But we don't hear it, we don't see it, we don't feel it because we're all bound up. And that is the journey of humanity, isn't it? In general, that is a being. My sister had a baby, and when I first saw the videos of this baby, she's in Italy, and when I saw baby, I can feel her soul wanting to just like rock it out from this body, but she's locked up in this little tiny package, little hands and little feet and little cry, and she wants to belt it. I mean, she's ready to be 10 years old in energy, but it takes stages. She's got to grow. Her limbs have to grow, her brain has to grow, she's got to start to see and taste and feel and interact. So it's beautiful to see, like, oh, there we go, humanity starting again. It's so sweet. Yeah. So wanting more is just a really it's just a way of you actually knowing that your journey in life is to unshackle, untie, snip those heavy chains of 3D humanity and help your body encased soul to ascend, evolve, awaken. So this desire that we have for more, really begin to see it from the lens of bliss. And the bliss is essentially, metaphysically, an instinct that wakes up when you realize your inherent freedom and infinity. That is what the sages point to. That is what you experience in deep, deep meditations or in your really full-on beautiful flow states. That is your inherent right to arrive at this instinct. I compare it to the instinct of fear. When you face a really fearful situation, your body is completely flooded with the neurochemical cocktail of fear to help you to run and fight and act in the fight and flight. Yeah, that's an instinct. Boom, your body doesn't think about this. So when you realize your freedom, that in that state of mukti, that liberation, when you realize that you are everything already, and physics is pointing to this when it starts to talk about infinite universes and parallel universes, that you are always leaping universes, realities, timelines, and basically you choose the relevance of which timeline you are meant to be living at this blank of a second. You're always choosing that relevance, always choosing what is relevant to you next and next and next. So this desire for more is just a really, really beautiful pull to liberation, pull to mukti, what they call in the Vedic philosophies, for you to arrive there. And of course, when you start to see it from that filter, when you encode bliss into this desire, then everything starts to change. You begin to see your challenges as a kiss of love. It's like, oh, so what is love serving up for me now? Because I don't really want that, but I guess that's what I need to be guided towards my liberation, because you know that you're aligned towards it and you can't go wrong. Because it's all the rivers lead to the ocean, and the ocean is the infinity. So when you feel, oh, I want more, really drop into your bliss and feel into that desire, and And take it out of your head, drop it into your heart, and then really bring that energy, that desire, that pull to wanting more into your womb, into the hara, into the area where we begin to manifest our reality and really start to choose the relevance of the next timeline and timeline and timeline. And that is the beautiful process. That's how you tailor in some of those frequencies of bliss and the erotic soul, when you really drop it into your body and it becomes an actual state of attraction, arousal towards creating and innovating and finding new ways and loving differently and loving yourself more powerfully and loving your partner or loving who you're creating as your future partner differently. You keep moving and adjusting, and you may face challenges, but they become signs of the love, kiss of that love. And you begin to see it differently. You're much kinder to yourself, and you start to create not from a level of high performance, but from a love and from pleasure, and that's the beauty of it all. So that's day 2, craving more of more or less of more, and that's what we touched on today. Please drop into the Bliss Design Salon. This is a salon that begins in July, first thing in July, and we're going to spend 2 full months together in a private, exclusive, super small, gorgeous, luxurious group. It's really well priced for any woman to be a part of this, and you get weekly coaching, you get one-on-one, and you get the most juicy content from me over the whole summer, so that I decided to run this in the summer so I can help women really be in touch with their bliss and the ecstasis in their erotic soul in the summertime, when the body's really nourished by the sunshine and by the beauty of that summer season, so that when we drop into the fall, we are really empowered, infused with these beautiful, pleasure-filled, high-grade, high-performance cocktail frequencies, so that what you're going to start creating in the fall will be just a touch more divine. And that's what we're up to. Hi, sweetheart. Nina, I'm going to talk to you next. Looking forward to it. Daria, my darling, go to blissdesign.com/summer salon. I will link it in the comments below. And private message me if you're thinking about joining us, and we can talk. I'm happy to jump on the phone to see if it's the right fit, if it's exactly what you need this summer. And I'd love to talk to you anyway. My goodness, everyone needs to look at Daria's work. She's divine. Wonderful. So I love you, girls. Much love, and keep close to your desires, and always remember, want nothing and create everything. Ultimately, these desires are just a laser beam pointer of pure light and love and juiciness and the erotic energy in you, drawing you to your divine, infinite nature. So that's all. That's all she wrote. Love you, girls.